Hello everybody, my name is Lemon. I am your coach of the Sacramento Surge, and today we are starting up Season 2 of the IPA. If you remember, I did participate in Season 1. I had a Hyper Offense Sun team that did pretty okay. We are in Season 2. We are participating in the Zapdos Division, hoping to make our way up to the Articuno Division this season. And I should say about the lack of content lately, I just haven't been wanting to record or upload or do thumbnails lately, but this is a league that I really do enjoy being in, and I absolutely love the people in this server, so I wanted to continue it for here. So yeah, that's that. We can see our format here, same as per usual, but I will say that this draft analysis is formatted differently, as in the draft towards the end, I started to hate my draft. I kept getting sniped of the defensive options that I needed for my team. So the thing that I was trying to use was Psychic Terrain with Tapu Lele and Blacephalon, but I just couldn't get a defensive option because they kept getting taken right before I was going to get them. So I had no defensive options. So the thing that I was trying to abuse could be easily abused against me. So I did not want that. So I scrapped pretty much the whole thing. I scrapped almost everything on the team. There were only like 3 Pokemon that actually stayed. So we're just going to go straight down the line. Like from tier 1 down to that last free agent Pokemon, that's where we're going. In this draft, we are picking a tier 1, tier 2, 2 tier 3s, a tier 4, a tier 5, a mega, and 4 free agent Pokemon, using the 400 points we have to spend on them. You can see the typing of the Pokemon on the top right, the nickname we will be giving them, their stats, and their abilities on the right. I will say ahead of time that I named all of my Pokemon after Roman gods, because I thought that would be fun. Leading off the draft, we do have Somnus the Kyurem. Kyurem, all around, very good Pokemon. Dragon Ice, pretty okay typing. Ice is really bad defensively, but actually pretty good offensively. Pressure ability allows me to use Substitute Roost pretty well. Very offensive with base 130 attack and special attack. I think that its physical moves are kind of underrated, as it does have access to Dragon Dance. 125 base HP is pretty great. Excuse me. Dragon is usually one of the types that I am more hesitant to pick. I don't know why, but it's one of those types that I like never ever pick. It's honestly like hard for me to find a dragon type I actually like using. But I have been wrecked by this thing many times. So, if it's wrecking me, then surely I must be destroying somebody in this season with it. Kyurem, pretty good coverage, does have access to Freeze Dry. Draco Meteor, very powerful move for those stab attacks. Does have Focus Blast and Earth Power. Does have Roost for recovery, Dragon Dance for sweeping. It's very common to run Substitute Roost kind of thing. And that's pretty much it. Like, honestly, I don't fully know what Kyurem does. I haven't done a whole lot of research into it. It was just a tier 1 dragon that was left over at the grace period. So that's what we've got. Next up, though, at tier 2, we have picked Mars, the Grimmsnarl. I am very familiar in the ways of the Grimmsnarl. I have picked Grimmsnarl, I think, like 4 times in draft. And I really enjoy it, actually. I think Grimmsnarl is a super fun Pokemon to use. Dark and Fairy, pretty cool typing, honestly. I actually don't fully know how good the typing is, but I really like having multiple immunities, and this thing has immunity to Dragon and Psychic, which I like a lot. Prankster, Frisk, and Pickpocket. 2 of those 3 abilities are very good. Pickpocket is very situational, but Prankster, very good ability. Frisk gives me good intel on my opponents, which I greatly enjoy. I love Frisk. I like drafting Pokemon with Frisk a lot, so I have full intentions to use that very often. Its stats are pretty lackluster, but its access to Prankster Substitute and Sleep Talk kind of set with Darkest Lariat and Bulk Up. It does have Taunt and Sucker Punch. It does its signature move Spirit Break is a 100% chance to lower my opponent's special attack, which I think is pretty underrated. It does have access to Trick for those kind of stall breaking sets. Kind of break those things like Clefairy, and or actually not even Clefairy. chancy. Just keep those things from being too stally for me, which I greatly enjoy. I like doing stuff like that. Um, that's pretty much it. It is our main dark type. So we're going to move on to tier 3 with Apollo the Espeon. This is one of the few Pokemon that did stay, and those are not the correct stats at all. Give me just a second. I am so sorry. All right, we're back. So I got the stats fixed right there. We have Apollo the Espeon. I needed some hazard control. I had Espeon from the original draft. Um, Magic Bounce is a very good ability, bouncing back any status moves that are used on this Pokemon. That includes stuff like Will-O-Wisp, Thunder Wave, Stealth Rock, Spikes, anything. Any status moves that have a target, and that target is this Espeon, they will be bounced back, which could be really, really good. Um, Base 130 special attack is very, very offensive, and uh, you know, I wanted it in Psychic Terrain so it could use Expanding Force. I had it, but again, I had no defensive options. So this thing's just kind of. Generally, I have wanted to draft Espeon for a while. I think it's one of the coolest um, evolutions to use in draft. I really like its Light Screen Reflect Wish kind of set. In my opinion, it's a very good Wish healer. The evolutions generally are, but this one I think is very fun to use as a Wish healer, as it does have access to Synchronized Heal Bell, which I think is actually pretty underrated. Next up at tier 3, though, we needed a ghost. Uh, we needed a ghost type. We needed to start our Fire Water Grass core, and that fire type was Pluto, the Alolan Marowak. So I've wanted to use Alolan Marowak for a while now, and this was I just went and grabbed it. It was there. I needed a tier 3 fire. I also needed a tier 3 ghost. It was this or Chandelure, and I like this better. So we have this thing. Fire Ghost, very good typing, very, very good typing offensively. Chandelure is very known to be an actual threat offensively. Curse Body, Lightning Rod, and Brockhead, three very good abilities. Curse Body has the chance to disable my opponent's move that is used against this Marowak. Very good ability. Lightning Rod gives me an electric immunity, and Rockhead removes recoil altogether. So I won't lie, I thought that this thing had head smash. It does not. It should, but it does not. It does have access to Flare Blitz. Stab Flare Blitz with Rockhead is very good. And you're going to look at its stats and you're going to wonder why it's good at all. And that's because of its signature item, the Thick Club. If you don't know what that is, it is a Marowak and Cubone specific item that will double their attack stat. So it is like a free Swords Dance. And it also has access to Swords Dance, so it can boost that attack, as well as boosting its attack by just being on the field. Base 110 defense is usable. It's very usable. And with the Espeon there that gives me a Trick Room setter, as well as a Wish healer into this Marowak, this thing can put in a lot of work. Marowak, it's very common to be very scary in Trick Room. That's pretty much it for this thing. We're going to move on now to tier 4, and I'm honestly blanking on what I picked. Give me just a second. Okay, I remember now. So I've used this Pokemon many times. It's kind of just my go-to fighting type. I needed some hazard control. I needed a Rapid Spinner. I needed something on the specially defense side, because so far, uh, my most specially defensive Pokemon is Espeon with base 95, and that's not going to cut it, so I grabbed Victoria, the Hitmonchan, with pure fighting type. Very common to run stuff like Assault Vest with Rapid Spin, Mach Punch, Drain Punch, and Ice Punch. It does learn elemental punches paired with Iron Fist, boosting those punching moves. Pretty decent. Very good special defense. Pretty good attack. I wish its HP stat was better so that it could actually live hits a little bit better. But it does give me my first hazard remover. Actually, I think that Kyurem learns Defog, but it's not really going to run Defog. Inner Focus, not super helpful. Really only makes me immune to Intimidate. That's kind of the only reason I'd run it. And Keen Eye, also not very helpful. But Iron Fist is good enough for this thing, as it does have access to a lot of punching moves. It gives me Priority User, which I really didn't have. All I had was Grimmsnarl with Sucker Punch, and now I do have Bullet Punch and Mach Punch on this thing right here. That's pretty much it for Hitmonchan. Tier 4, Fighting type, gives me a Rapid Spinner. Now this pick, I am super happy that I could use this thing, and again, this thing was coming from my terrain team. This next pick right here, our tier 5, was coming from our terrain team, and it is Neptune the Clawitzer. So, if you don't know, Clawitzer is my favorite water type. I think it looks awesome. I think a Mega Launcher is a great ability. It's got really good coverage. Uh, Mega Launcher boosting almost all of those moves. It has Flip Turn for pivoting. Very good special attack with Dark Pulse, Sludge Bomb, Flash Cannon, Hydro Pump. It's got Ice Beam, uh, Aura Sphere, and Dragon Pulse. Most of those moves that I just said are all boosted by Mega Launcher. Base 120 special attack, very good. It is most definitely a miniature Mega Blastoise. Uh, it does everything that Mega Blastoise does, except for remove hazards. That's that's what it does, and it's great. I love it. I have really high hopes for Neptune here because I love him so much, and I think he is actually going to make a name for himself. I think that Tier 5 Clawitzer was a steal. I've seen Clawitzer usually put in Tier 4, and that was before the Pokemon Home update, or the Pokemon Isle of Armor update, giving us Terrain Pulse. And Clawitzer is genuinely better now. I'm super excited to use it. This is our second Pokemon to be rounding off our Fire, Water, Grass core. Uh, I think yeah, okay, so on the topic of the cores, we do need to finish off our Dragon Fairy Steel, and that Steel is Vulcan the Mega Aggron. So I've used Mega Aggron before. I greatly enjoyed using Mega Aggron before. Base 230 defense, 140 attack, and then everything else is pretty meh. But 230 defense, that is crazy. Every week, I am forcing my opponents to bring special offensive Pokemon, and that's it. The fact that I am doing that on Team Preview is super valuable. And this thing has access to Body Press now. People thought that Stack Attack was going to be busted with Body Press. This thing has base 230 defense. Its maximum defense, I think, is like 600 something, and that's before its access to Iron Defense, boosting it by 2 stages, doubling it every time it's used. It's very one of the sets that was roaming around a couple of years ago was like Sleep Talk Dragon Tail Rest kind of a thing with like Substitute. I don't really see the rage in that, but that's also mainly because I see this thing as a very good offensive Pokemon. It's very heavy, so that Heavy Slam is doing a ton of damage. Um, it has access to Curse for a Trick Room option. If your opponent has a very Trick Room based team, that this thing could be very powerful. Um, the only thing I wish it had was like Amnesia for boosting its special defense, but that's okay. Base 70 HP is manageable enough that it's still going to be taking hits very well, and that filter ability, that is what pulls this thing together so well. Filter is a very exclusive ability. It is Mega Aggron and Mr. Mime. I think those are the only two Pokemon that have this ability. And what it does is it reduces super effective damage down to 3/4 of what it was. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but 3/4 of what it was is a lot. Sorry. And I think that this is a very valuable pick. Tier 1 Mega rounds off our Fairy Dragon Steel. I love this thing. I am super excited to use it. And moving on. So our next pick, we are heading on into the free agent realm. And I wanted to pick something familiar to me. In my original draft, I had Therian Thundurus, which I loved the idea of using, but I just didn't think it was going to work. So instead, I grabbed Jupiter the Zeraora. So I'm very familiar with Zeraora. I used it last season. I think I did pretty good with it. Volt Absorb, one of my favorite abilities of all time. Pretty good stats, very, very good speed is the thing that pulls this thing together. It's very good speed. Um, its struggle though is definitely in the damage output range. Unfortunately, 112 base attack and 102 base special attack is It's okay, but there's a lot of defensive options out there, so it is really kind of forced to use one of its move slots for a for like bulk up or calm mind. But it's honestly not that big of a deal because it does have recovery with Train Punch. It does have it's a pretty good substitute Pokemon. Plasma Fist is a very good 100 base power electric move, which changes any normal moves into a uh, electric move for that turn, which just means like I can absorb a Boom Burst, which isn't actually that big of a deal. Because like on most of the Pokemon that use Boom Burst, I kind of just want to use close combat. I think the one exception is like Swallow. Um, but very good Pokemon. I am familiar with it. Uh, I'm actually really happy to use it again. I really like Zeraora. It's one of my favorite tier 5s to pick. I think it looks awesome. I think it's very good. Does have close combat and play rough. It's got pretty good coverage. It's a very good knockoff Pokemon, which at this point I don't have very many. Like, I don't actually think Grimmsnarl has knockoff, so I kind of just have Marowak and Zeraora, which is not super good. So a knockoff Pokemon, a good knockoff Pokemon, is very important. This thing at tier 1 did cost us 180 points, putting us down to 220, which puts us in range of our next pick, Mercury the Gligar. I've wanted to pick Gligar for a while because it does annoy me in draft. Um, it's something that has given me troubles before, so I decided to pick it. This thing at tier 3 cost us 100 points, putting us at 120. Hypercutter, Sandville, and Immunity. Hypercutter's okay. Immunity is the better one, making me immune to being poisoned. Ground and Flying type gives me, again, dual immunities with ground and electric moves. But its stats are pretty mediocre. That base defense 105 boosted by Eviolite is pretty good though. It is a knockoffer. It's a U-turner, Earthquake, Stealth Rock, Defog. It it gives me the hazard setters that I need because currently my hazard setters are Marowak, Aggron, and now Gligar. And Gligar is only my second hazard remover. So I thought that was going to be very important to have. Base 85 speed is good enough that it can outspeed a certain. It can outspeed a decent amount of things and go for U-turns, or I can run defensive and go for slow turn. Either way, though, that is our third electric immunity, actually. So we are really just saying no to the entire prospect of Pokemon using electric moves. Moving on, though, we only have 120 points left, so the highest tier we can get is 2 tier 4s, and the first one we got is Ceres the Eldegoss. I actually really like Eldegoss. I didn't like it whenever it first came out, but I like it a lot now. 3 very good abilities. Cutting Down, very underrated. Anytime this Pokemon takes direct damage, the opposing Pokemon's speed is lowered by 1 stage. This can give me some really good speed control because my team is not super fast at this point. My fastest things, I think, are Zeraora and Espeon. Um, and I'm not really helping it with this thing, but Cotton Guard or Cotton Down does help me out a good amount with that, giving me some speed control. Regenerator, very good ability for defensive. Lets me switch out and restore a third of my HP. And Effect Spore can just be super annoying, but it is pretty inconsistent. Very specially defensive, as my team did not have a very specially defensive Pokemon at all. So this is going to be very important for that. It does have Leech Seed, Sleep Powder, um, Rapid Spin. It is another hazard remover, which I thought was important at this point. It has Giga Drain for recovery. I'm really blanking out right now. What is it? There was something else it had that I was like super. Oh, Charm. It has Charm. Having my opponent attack. I did use that last season with Whimsicott, and this thing is by no means a Whimsicott, but having Charm, having that, like, it helps me out defensively a lot. Um, that's pretty much it for this thing. I think it has aromatherapy, but that's pretty much it. Moving on, though, we have our final pick, another tier 4, and it's something I actually despise. That is Juno, the Miltank. I hate Miltank with a burning passion. I'm never going to hide it because I hate Miltank. 3 very good abilities, giving me Thick Fat, giving me a fire and ice resist, Scrappy, making it so that my stab normal moves can go through ghost types and fighting moves, and Sap Zipper giving me a water immunity or a grass immunity. Its stats are okay. Base 105 defense and 100 speed is pretty decent. With base 95 HP makes it decently bulky, and base 80 attack is usable enough that it can use body slams and spread paralysis. This thing all around, I hate it. I even hate that I picked it because I hate Miltank so much, but I wanted it off the field. I did not want anybody to be able to use it because I hate it so much. Um, it is a stealth rocker. It does have milk drink for recovery. It has heal bell for support for my team. So all around, it genuinely is a good tier 4 to pick. But that is it. You can see our full draft right here. I don't know how I feel about it. Considering that I made it out of scraps because the original draft plan just did not work out, I think it's pretty okay. I'm sure that I'm going to be changing something like that Hitmonchan and maybe the Eldegoss, um, but I think that I'll be okay. I think that I can go and actually do some work with this team. So if you guys enjoyed this draft analysis and you're excited to be going forward into the IPA Season 2, please do consider liking and subscribing. It shows me you appreciate the content that I enjoy making myself. I am very excited to see Pokemon that I really enjoy using come out into the field. Pokemon like Clawitzer and Mega Aggron. Super excited to use both of them. I'm pretty excited to use Kyurem as I've never used it before. Espeon, wanted to use it before, haven't gotten to, and yet here I am with it right now. So that is it for me, guys. I'm going to see you all in week 1. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm going to see you